device. So this is the signal will be looks like. And next, if we come to USB driver side, so basically USB supports plug and play, which is dynamically. So when we inserted any USB device, at that time only the driver will get loaded. So this is basic for every hardware insertion to the device. So in USB also it is more plug and play device, right? So basically, if want to more understanding on drivers, so drivers is when plugged any hardware, it will be loaded, and when it is unplugged, it will be unloaded. So it will be always having a driver will burden to memory. So that is it will not be loaded always. So likewise in USB also, whenever we inserted any type of any class type of USB, it will be loaded based on the USB PID, VID. So we will see more deep into that. So what is driver? To understand the driver more in detail. So driver is a specialized hardware component that facilitate communication between software component like OS to hardware device. So this is a driver. It is a communication specialized software that communicates between OS to hardware device, and it enables OS to interact with the control hardware device such as printer, graphics cards, etc. So it enables interaction. And control hardware devices, and it translate high level OS commands to low level instructions. So that low level instructions hardware can understand and execute based on the instructions. So you may have a doubt what is driver, and is it something like executable file? It is not executable files. So drivers are basically a specialized software for hardware interaction. So it is a specialized software for hardware interaction. And executable file can run it standalone. It does not run standalone. It is loaded by OS when needed. It is not a standalone software. So we don't have any program instructions. So it will have translational software. So which means it is have some add-ons to the OS. So it will be loaded by OS when needed for the hardware interaction. So hardware performance is based on driver. So poor driver make the hardware performance worse. Hardware performance is based on driver as well. So next, so what are all driver? Some common driver types are user mode and kernel mode. drivers. So user mode is have a low privilege. So low privilege. So kernel mode have high privilege. So kernel mode have access to hardware. So it has a full access to hardware, and it can execute instructions that directly manipulate hardware component. So any issue in the driver can have a system crash. So kernel mode driver is something very crucial for the system performance. Those components and are loaded by the kernel mode drivers. That's why it is very high privilege driver. So let's understand what is so this is about driver, and so loading appropriate driver for USB is based on the PID and VID of the USB. PID is a product ID and VID is a vendor ID. So product ID is a 16-bit, both are 16-bit, which is a 4 hex number, 4-digit hex number, 4-digit hex number. So PID and VID tells what kind of a driver have to load, and it tells about the vendor and particular product details, model details. So this will be given supplied by the USB implementers forum, and they charge some cost for this. So it is a cost. It should be registered for, so every vendor have to register, and every vendor once registered they can have multiple product ID by their own. So this tells the model and the type of device. Everything will be told by this. Say if any device is inserted, let's say keyboard, some Logitech keyboard is inserted, so this will tell the type of keyboard inserted into the host. So it will tell Logitech or Zebronics. So based on the 4-digit hex number, it will tell this. And PID, based on the PID number, if it is a keyboard, PID, corresponding PID it read, and it tells it is keyboard. Not, it will tell to us, it will load corresponding Logitech and keyboard driver from the OS. It will loaded when that VID PID is detected. So if Zebronics mouse I inserted, then with the VID PID of Zebronic mouse, once it detected, it will load the corresponding driver. So Zebronics mouse driver will be loaded when I inserted Zebronics mouse with the PID VID, it will load this driver. So if we have a two Logitech keyboard and mouse, so both will have same VID, but PID will be different. So both so Logitech VID PID of these two will be gets loaded when I inserted these two. And USB have multiple transfer modes. It has control, transfer, and then interrupt, and then bulk transfer, isochronous. So this gives a guaranteed latency. So defined bandwidth, say for example audio, video, live stream. So it gives a guaranteed latency. It don't have a guaranteed latency, but it allocates more bandwidth, so it's a bulk, so more storage, bulk transfer. When we copy bulk data, so it will do a bulk transfer, so it no guaranteed latency required. And it is an interrupt, so it will be low chunk of data, so control and interrupt is used for some mouse, keyboard, all the small bandwidth components. Isochronous is for live stream camera and live streaming audio, so it need not have latency, otherwise it will broken the content of the intended message. So that's where isochronous is used. So let's talk about the enumeration part. So what is enumeration? So enumeration is when host identifies and recognize and configures a newly connected USB device. It will establish a connection between host and the device. So this is called enumeration. So host and device establishing connection. This is called enumeration. So how it is establishing the connection is a enumeration. So let's see what are the steps in this. When USB device connected to host, device connected to host, so hardware level, it will detect the device attachment. And then host provides power to the device, allowing it to be operational. And host controller reads electrical characteristics of the device like speed and its presence. Read or understand the electrical characteristics of device like speed, type, and host assign a temporary address of the USB bus. USB bus. So it have a so communicate with the multiple USB devices. Each device has a unique address, so it will assign some temporary address to the newly connected device. And then host request device descriptor with the temporary address. So device descriptor contains VID, PID, and class, subclass details. So once host receives the device descriptor, it will match the driver based on the descriptor. From the OS, and then setting a communication endpoints, configure power setting, and establish data transfer. So communication establishes based on driver. So it configures so it have endpoints and it configure power setting, so it configures power setting and data transfer. So we saw data transfers like isochronous, interrupt, control, bulk. So those data transfer, what type of data need to be transferred, so all the things will be settled set up here. So then enumeration completed. So fully operational with the loaded driver. Fully operational device is here. Once we unplug, it will detect the absence of the connector or the device. Then it unloaded the driver. During unplug, unloaded the driver. That's all. So again, device connector to the host. So hardware detects. So this is the cycle of how USB enumeration. So next, come to electrical side. So USB has a low speed and full speed and high speed, as we know. So there is a differential one. So how the communication is established is there is a differential 1 and 0. It will be detected based on the D plus D minus lines. So D plus, basically it is pulled to ground with 15K. So let's say this is a D plus line. It is pulled to ground with the 15K resistor. And D minus on USB 1 and 1.1, it is pulled to 3.6 volt with 1.5K resistor. Okay, so this is a D plus D minus. So when differential 1, so this for a differential 1 mean in data of D plus D minus is, it is pulled to 2.8 volt and this is grounded, or it will be pulled low to 0.3. So if D plus is 2.8 volt and D minus is 0.3, this is called differential 1. Differential 0 means when this is pulled to ground, when it is less than 0.3 volt. When this one is greater than 2.8 volt, this is called a differential 0. So if the bus is like this, it is considered as a differential 1, differential 0. So the receiver defines differential 1 as if d plus 200 millivolt is greater than d minus, we can put it here. If d plus 200 millivolt is greater than d minus is called a differential 1. If d plus 200 millivolt is less than d minus, it is called a differential 0. So this polarity of the signal is inverted, so depending on the speed of the bus. Hence they state J and K states. So it is nothing but for low speed J is differential 0. In high speed high speed J is a differential 1. So based on JK, it will find what is the type of, so software level or a protocol level, it will find what is the type of the device it is connected. And other than this differential, USB have a single-ended communication as well. So there is a single-ended 0, so it indicates device reset. So which means if both the D plus and D minus are less than 0.3 volt for more than 10 millisecond is called the device reset. And electrically, the D plus D minus have to be routed 90 ohms characteristics impedance on the PCB. And sorry, there is a slight small mistake in the speed. This is not full speed, this is high speed, it is full speed. For high speed, there is no this kind of pull-ups. So high speed USB mode uses 17.78 milliamps current source instead of this differential voltage pull-ups. It is uses current source for signal. So speed identification, simply we can say like a host. So this is device. So host D plus D minus will have 15k ohm pull down, and if this is D plus D minus D plus, if pull up is present on D minus, this is called low speed signal, low speed USB device. If full speed, the pull up will be here.